We chronicle the journey of champions of Summer's Rift, BSJ, Demon, and crew through the open TI5 qualifiers powered by Faceit. This is their first best of 3 of the evening. They've made it out of the best of ones, the perilous format, and now they are in the semifinals. Winner moves on to the grand finals in a best of 3 of these open qualifiers. I am MRP. With me is GrandisV. We are your English coverage for this matchup.
Yeah, should be a pretty entertaining series, all things considered. It is a best of 3 after all, and I think this one's going to be a lot closer than the previous games that Summer's Rift went through. As far as Unknown is concerned, I haven't seen them play as this lineup, but they've been doing very well throughout the qualifiers and have some pretty respectable names on their team.
Yeah, definitely some people we've seen at least in NASA Dota, thus far. They are going to ban out the Visage, so it seems they've done some of their homework on Summer's Rift, at least for the day, where a lot of Drow Visage has been picked up. They're going to ban out the Gyrocopter as well. Instant first pick IO coming out from Summer's Rift, and it looks like they're going to pair that with the BB early on. Queen of Pain, Earthshaker open up from Unknown.
Yeah, this is going to be a change of pace for Summer's Rift as they don't get their hands on the Visage, that being first banned away from them. But IO Bristback is also very scary, and usually we've seen the IO being banned out in the first stage instead. So I guess it's just Unknown picking their poise, and we'll have to see if they're well equipped to deal with the IO Bristleback. At the moment, their heroes are reasonable against that combo. Earthshaker dropping Fissures can put a wrench into Bristleback's plans throughout the team fight, just anything to throw between you and the Warthog. And Queen of Pain's damage output is pretty nice, especially killing off the IO.
Yeah, the pure damage nice against the BB as well. She can Shadow Strike to kite him around a little bit with the Tether move speed, though that's more or less negated. So we'll see how they fare with this BB combo. This is something we've seen a lot in Tier 1 recently, most notably from Secret. So it'll be interesting to see how it works in the hands of Summer's Rift. They're going to ban out the Brood in the second phase for the 4th time today once again. Don't want to see that. They're going to ban out the Shadow Fiend as well. So maybe anticipating that this Queen of Pain goes into a different lane than mid. Shadow Fiend deals decently well with a dual lane. So definitely a smart ban coming from them with the triple raise coming out. Can blow up the Wisp if he missteps. So Sand King tiny bans are going to come out from Unknown. So another obvious IO partner there in the tiny.
You know, so Unknown are going to go ahead and follow up their Queen of Pain Earthshaker after they've already picked up those 2 heroes. If they want just some standard counters to the IO Bristleback, a Disruptor is available, though that might leave their supporting duo a tad bit weak. A hero I'd love to see, although we're probably not going to see it, and if they pick it up, it'll be later on, would be a Timbersaw, but we'll hold that thought as it's going to be a Dazzle for the time being.
Yeah, Timbersaw very nice up against any heroes that are in close proximity more often than not, like the IO +1. So that could be really nice. Also, there's a lack of hard disable for sure on Summer's Rift side, at least thus far in their lineup, and Timber feasts on lineups that lack disable, so it could really work out, no doubt. Dazzle going to be picked up thus far, so maybe allows the Queen of Pain to get a little bit more burst out before she drops if she's caught out of position. The Grave early on, very short range, so I worry for this Dazzle ability early on. The physical damage is decently nice, the physical damage nuke against the IO, but I don't exactly see the synergy of this Dazzle pick just yet.
Yeah, it's just a generally good hero, a really nice defensive supporting core. Between the Earthshaker and Dazzle, it's going to be really hard for them to kill off Queen of Pain, or any other hero for that matter. The extra armor is really nice to have against the Bristleback, but as you said, there's no direct synergies between like the Earthshaker, Queen of Pain, no Shadow Demon Dazzle, or anything of the sort. For the time being, it's going to be a Lion for the Summer's Rift side, some nice hard lockdown for the Queen of Pain, and maybe making the likes of that Timbersaw less attractive.
Yeah, certainly so as well. Can maybe look to blow up the Dazzle with that finger earlier on, take him completely out of the fight, and therefore deny up some of the sustain available to Unknown. They're going to need a couple of cores here, so this narrows the bans a little bit for Summer's Rift. What do you feel like works in the 1 position up against a Bristleback?
Anything that can kite him would be really nice for Unknown. Maybe even something like a Viper, just get some early momentum under your belt.
Yeah, Viper's certainly nice. A Corrosive Skin, great against the Lion as well. Not the most ideal relocate target, even if you have someone with a stun like a CK or a Sven or the Tiny, which was banned out a short time ago. So they will pick up the clock from Unknown just for now. Definitely some kite ability there. The mana burn is also very nice against pretty much all three of the heroes available to Summer's Rift so far. A little less so to the Bristleback, as he does have that overcharge to help keep him up. But Clockwork going to be nice as a positioning utility type hero here. The initiation also nice. He can pretty much blow up that IO reliably with a battery salt if he catches him out in the cogs after using tether. We will see Summer's Rift go once again for that Dragon Fist Storm Spirit though towards the mid lane. And the Orchid, if he can pick it up in due time, will do a lot of work versus both pretty much every hero thus far on Unknown's lineup.
Storm Spirit is one of the few heroes that doesn't really worry about the cogs and Fissure blocking him off, and that's pretty important for Summer's Rift at the moment. Yeah. There's a lot of walls that Unknown can put up to keep their Queen of Pain on the sides of the fight, dropping her nuke damage here and there. So it is going to be pretty nice for them. And the lockdown for the Storm Spirit is fairly slow incoming. You have a hook shot, maybe you can follow that up with a Fissure if everything works out nicely, but 9 times out of 10, Storm Spirit should be able to keep his distance, especially if played well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Summer's Rift actually wants to lane this here. They could go something like a defensive try with the IO and the Lion, but it is going to be difficult to kill off that Clockwork with him having the cogs available to him. And Storm Spirit, if you have your IO in a defensive try, you're not going to really be able to rotate over supports to help him out in that mid lane. And 1v1 versus the Queen of Pain should have a pretty rough time. So expect the dual lane mid for now with the Lion SS over in the safe lane, but it'll be interesting to see what Summer's Rift do with it, and perhaps their last pick will be revealing or telling as to what they expect to do.
For the Unknown side, they are lacking a decent amount of scaling damage on their heroes, although Queen of Pain can hold that weight pretty effectively. Earthshaker, Dazzle, and Clockwork, although they have a lot of utility and lockdown between them, they don't really do that well later on as the game progresses. So something with a decent amount of range and a lot of damage for Unknown would be really nice, although I'm not sure exactly what fits the bill.
Yeah, could go for something. Maybe they're going to need to create space for something for sure. They could go for something like a Medusa here, although a little bit of an immobile hero against the Goo and the Storm Spirit, as well as the Sables from Lion. Also not really an ideal BKB builder, so Medusa, certain possibility here as there's not much to deal with the Mana Shield, but maybe even something like an Anti-Mage. Does have the Manta to get rid of the Orchid, and as well isn't the most ideal relocate target. We saw Summer's Rift earlier today have real trouble dealing with an Anti-Mage earlier on, so maybe Unknown look to pick that up to scale a little bit better into the late game. We'll see the Huskar ban.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. I think Huskar actually would have worked pretty nicely for Unknown. And Slark is going to be a carry that works in a similar vein to that Huskar. Just a lot of mid-game damage that does scale pretty well late if you get off to a snowball-y start. But now that I think about it, Summer's Rift wouldn't have had very much to deal with Huskar outside of Bristleback's physical damage. Although good, I'm not sure if it would have been enough. I really would have been on board with Huskar. Well, I mean, I usually always am, but you know.
Yeah, and it's generally something that you see Summer's Rift pick up. But yeah, certainly they didn't have too much to deal with it, with a lot of their damage output being magical and the Bristle's physical damage being somewhat over time. Slark pickup certainly nice here. If you get the packed off, you can purge off that Orchid. They don't have too much in the way of AoE disables once he pops that Shadow Dance as opposed to the Impale from Lion. They will pick up BSJ's Phantom Lancer here, and they were able to shut it down last game against FTD. We'll see if they can gain some farm for their own PL in this one.
This changes the flavor of Summer's Rift draft quite a bit. I was expecting the Bristleback to be getting a lot of farm, maybe even the safe lane, but no, it's going to be Brax playing that, partnered up for the time being with Whitebeard's IO. Storm Spirit's going to be handled by Dragon Fist, Lion's going to be played by Demon, and Phantom Lancer by BSJ.
Yeah, and over on the Radiant side, we've got MNZ going to be picking up that Slark behind him. On the Earthshaker, Z-Talk is going to be there. They will have Dark playing towards that mid lane on the Queen of Pain, and that leaves the Dazzle, Acel, and finally over in the off lane, Greedy going to be jumping towards that small pole camp and trying to block it up. Actually, we'll just give himself some info, some vision for the time being. Should have a decent time in this safe lane, being that he's only up against the dual lane of the PL and the Lion.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely could be worse for the Clockwork. A hero that generally does do pretty poorly in lane and just hopes to get experience. But maybe this time around he can do a little bit better since they are committing an IO elsewhere for the Summer's Rift heroes. That said, the Bristleback with the IO's backup can put a decent amount of pressure onto the Slark. The Dazzle and Earthshaker really going to suffer when it comes to their damage output early. The Pounce from the Slark is pretty good lockdown, but even if they lock him down for that time, actually killing off the Bristleback if he gets some levels up is going to be very difficult. The Queen of Pain is going to pull Roshan out of the pit and then pick up the bounty rune. Poor Roshan, he just wanted to have a snooze. They'll leave him back there for quite some time.
Just in case anyone wanted to go for that bounty. IO going to secure it top lane. It's going to be a quick bottle going Whitebeard's way for the mid lane. And actually, they're going to start off by dropping the trees here so that the IO can double stack both of those camps thereafter for the Bristleback to farm.
Well, we're going to start things off with a bottle for Whitebeard as he didn't pick up anything as his starting items, and now it's going to help out the Storm Spirit in mid. For the time being, it's mostly just a dual lane versus dual lane. Fissure going to be attempted, but that's going to wall the Storm Spirit off on the other side. And even if it did wall him off perfectly, I'm not sure if that would have been enough for the kill. When you have Whitebeard with a full bottle up, in fact, the Queen of Pain is copying a lot of harass from just the IO himself.
Yeah, the right clicks from the Wisp are real right now and needs to be a little bit careful. Does have that salve as well as a couple of pooled tangos, but already burning through this early on. Not exactly the start you want for your Queen of Pain. Innately has an advantage in this lane and will throw out the Shadow Strike towards Whitebeard, try and ward off that IO for now. Elsewhere, we do see the Clockwork finding some farm in his lane. He's already halfway towards his level 2 and can't be too harassed out too heavily by this Lion. Doesn't have the battery salt, so can't look to man up just yet. Brax being pretty much zoned out completely bot lane. We'll try and trade with that Dazzle, but with that early level and Poison Touch, Acel being able to zone him out pretty effectively.
Denied. Zoned out for the time being, but now that the creep wave is under tower, Bristleback will find himself level 2, and it gets better for Brax as time progresses.
Yeah, certainly so. They don't have too much to lock him down as well. You mentioned the Pounce being there, but with the Earthshaker having to commit over towards mid lane to ensure that the Queen of Pain isn't shut down too hard, Brax able to play pretty riskily in this bot lane, as is the Clockwork over against the duel.
Deo, at the time being, is going to be looking for a stack for the Storm Spirit inside the mid lane. Clockwork and Queen of Pain have dropped pretty low, but neither of them are in any immediate danger. Although the Earthshaker is nice to have defensively behind the Queen of Pain, Z-Talk's not getting that extra gold that's really going to help out. In fact, the Queen of Pain is going to take quite a bit of damage here. The IO orbs are going to fly through, dropping to about half of Fissure is going to be attempted, but very far away from actually getting that block.
Yep, bot rune is going to be secured for Whitebeard by Brax. And that'll help Whitebeard get a little bit of Brax get a little regen as he returns to lane. Top lane, Demon taking a little bit of damage from the Rocket Flare, but he'll be just fine to regen up here and continue to try and harass out Greedy, who has picked up level 3 on the Clockwork. Brax going to catch a Poison Touch bot lane. And MNZ looking for the Pounce. Is going to latch and does find it. Only just now skills his first level, and Dark Pack will be able to get around to the front. And he will bring down Brax, whose name does not fit on the screen. Dazzle going to be able to pick up the last hit there.
A very, very close pounce coming out from MNZ. Well played there by the Slark, just catching him on the very edge of it. And that is going to help out Unknown quite a bit in a very passive early game. Getting that first blood is quite nice. And I don't think anybody expected anything different. IO and Earthshaker, as a general rule, although maybe they can be involved in kills, would usually rather be played fairly defensively and just chill and sit behind their carries, stack up a little bit.
Yep, Brax going to get a little bit aggressive with his comrade now in lane alongside him, but Acel ready and waiting with the wave and the grave. Should be able to keep up MNZ more often than not, and he can stand in lane. And LH, as he has been able to do thus far, 19 CS on the Slark to the 21 of his counterpart in the PL.
Yeah, which is pretty nice for them, but still a fairly even early game. When does the game start spicing up? When can these teams look for kills?
Yeah, I feel like the ball lightning is certainly a big linchpin for the lineup of Summer's Rift, but even bigger, I feel, is the relocate. They don't really have too much immediate follow-up for the Storm Spirit once he picks up the ball lightning. I mean, they've got the disables from the Lion, but I feel like they need to bring in multiple heroes to bring down most of Unknown Squad. They've got the Cogs on the Clockwork, the Shadow Dance for the Slark, the Blink for the Queen of Pain, and even the Grave for the Dazzle support. So I don't know that they can kill anyone off before this relocate comes out for Whitebeard. Brax is going to dive deeply, though. looking for Acel, and there's no TP rotations just yet. The Grave will be popped out at a very timely point by the Dazzle, but it looks like he may be chased down here. One more Quill Spray stack will do it. But Brax is getting fairly low. The Dark Pack will be there, but the overcharge barely in time to keep him up, but only for a short amount of time, as the creeps will bring him down. And now MNZ, stopped up by his own creeps, won't be able to chase down Whitebeard. Also, the spirits from the IO may have been able to bring him down if Whitebeard brought him in close.
It's really easy to feel completely invincible as a bristleback. Diving the tower like that, tanking one too many shots, is going to end up paying for his overextension, I'll say. The Slark is going to end up collecting pretty big there, being involved in 2 kills already. MMZ is sitting on a pot of enough gold to almost pick up a hand of Midas, if that is actually his item of choice. Although I think this game I might prefer him to just get into that Shadow Blade a little bit quicker, maybe upgrade his boots. It's up to personal preference. He would get that Midas at a reasonable time.
Yeah, the Silver Edge is immensely good versus this Bristleback, so do expect him to go for that Shadow Blade build. I feel like the Midas would be a bit greedy, especially considering that most of Unknown's lineup is really hitting their stride towards this mid game. They are going to rotate around, though, and Dark Konoha as well as the Earthshaker are going to find out and isolate Whitebeard. One more right click will be able to bring him down. They're able to rotate out Brax, but still Whitebeard falls in the bot lane. A lot committed over from this Radiant side, but they do secure some farm for their Slark for the next little bit.
Yeah, it's going to buy Dragon Fist a little bit of space inside the mid lane that he was lacking before. He was doing pretty poorly against the Queen of Pain. Not terribly, but a lot worse than he would have liked.
Yeah, and he will be able to find some farm now, but the Queen of Pain rotating back into lane was able to pick off that rune bottom as well away from Brax. So Brax going to have to rotate back into lane with his IO now. Looking pretty poor on the Bristleback. Needs to finish up at least the treads soon here. He will drop out the goo, and a lot of spirits going into the face of MNZ, but both his supports nearby. And maybe Brax be the one to be turned on. They will isolate the Bristleback. They don't land the Fisher on him, though, so still fairly tanky, and with the tether, can't aggress any forward.
That's going to be all she wrote. The kill score remains 3-1. But still, the Phantom Lancer farms up towards top. BSJ is having a pretty happy time, and it actually is going to be the Midas up for the Slark. That early Midas is just a little bit too much for MMZ to pass up. But I do think that going into the Silver Edge sooner rather than later would serve him very well. There are a lot of passives that would be worth disabling.
Yeah, it will allow him to scale well. Of course, the PL and the Bristleback going to scale a little bit better than the Tricore of Unknown, as you alluded to in the draft. So maybe just trying to secure himself that insurance policy towards the late game. And as you mentioned, being sub 7 minutes is hard to pass up for the Slark here. Taking a look at the offlaners, Greedy is level 5 and almost picks up that hook shot here at his level 6. Brax having to split a little bit more of his XP, and dying a couple of times in this lane is a little bit short on XP relative to the Clockwork, but will be hitting his level 6 and picking up that Warpath fairly soon as well.
And also does pick up a fair bit of farm ahead of the Clockwork, even after dying twice. Brax has found himself power treads and a little bit more on top of that. That said, Unknown should be able to set up some kills with this Clockwork hookshot. They have more than enough follow-up, especially from the Queen of Pain. Sitting at level 7, once you get level 8 and the maxed out Scream, you can do a lot when it comes to killing off, especially with the line and the IO on the back lines.
Yeah, Dragon Fist picked up a regen rune, looking to find something bottom, but the pounce out from the Slark's going to keep him pretty safe. He also had the Dazzle by his side, so Dragon Fist just going to return over to mid lane, where the Queen of Pain is farming and does pick up a set of treads of her own. So looking pretty good. Bot lane, maybe they're looking to pincer Brax here. He's going to get the Poison Touch pounce. Not going to be committed yet by MNZ. Knowing the Wisp behind him. No relocate save available, though, to this Bristleback just yet. And MNZ going to take 3 stacks of this Quill Spray. Needs to be a little bit careful. But Brax, a little worried about how far forward this Slark is playing. Is going to back off.
He'll end up falling back, and with the level 6 regeneration, it's going to be very easy to come by for the Slark. He's just going to back off, follow, and farm inside the woods. They brought the Clockwork down towards this bottom lane. Maybe it can make something happen with Greedy here. They're smoking up his 3. Involving the Slark in these kills would be really nice for them, but do they even involve him? They're going to spot out this rotation coming up from the Bristleback, as well as the IO, stacking up some Ancients from the high ground using the Quills. They have a hookshot to initiate, and this could go very south for Summer's Rift.
Yeah, Whitebeard is isolating himself a bit, but rotates back towards the tower, knowing that really no one is showing themselves in lane for this Radiant side, and wise play from Summer's Rift. They're going to be able to back off towards their tier 2. Also, Greedy opting for those extra points in Rocket Flare at their last hit in lane is not going to be able. Yeah, nice dodge on the tether from that Sonic Wave, and that's going to mean really the Queen of Pain can't look for anything for the next couple of minutes here. But just was going to say that Greedy doesn't really have solo kill potential without the battery assault, so needs some extra heroes to look to bring one down, and whiffing that Sonic Wave is not going to help with their aggression here after.
No, that's a lot of time spent by Unknown, and they don't get any return on their investment. They don't get any kills, and the Slark and the Queen of Pain weren't farming in the meantime, so that's going to give a lot of space to Summer's Rift, Phantom Lancer, and Storm Spirit in particular. Storm Spirit didn't have the greatest of early games, but now sitting at level 8, and more than enough for him to be able to contribute. The line is caught out, potentially by the Clockwork and the Queen of Pain. Hookshot's going to be wide towards the left, and Demon hexes up the Queen of Pain. Now bring in the Storm, they're going to Earth Spike up Greedy, and maybe he's bitten off way more than he can chew with the Finger of Death. They'll kill him off, although it's potentially at the cost of Demon's own life. There's only one point in Blink for the Queen of Pain, and Dark is at a very low amount of mana and health. A couple more zips from Dragon Fist is going to drop him low, now getting juiced up by Whitebeard. One more charge of that Overload. That's a double kill for Dragon Fist, and potentially a triple if they can secure the Earthshaker. It's going to fall towards Whitebeard, a 3-for-1 trade that Summer's Rift are going to be very happy to take.
Yeah, just after picking up that level 6, the Demon immediately looks to rotate, and the hotspot is the rune. Brax is going to be gone on bot lane. He's going to TP out, though, and underneath the Slark should be able to make it as the nuke was already used by the Shadow Wave. Heads up play there by Brax, and across the map, trades going very well for Summer's Rift as BSJ brings down that tier 1 in the face of Greedy in the offlane.
Yeah, and this is Phantom Lancer. It's pretty much completely untouched. He's going to end up having the Vladimir's offering along to farm very effectively with the Quelling Blade working properly with illusions. Now, Banana Slime Jam is going to accelerate his farm probably at a similar rate to the Midas on Slark, and maybe even a little bit better. Phantom Lancer just clears through the jungle that much quicker, and Slark, although Midas is a decent item to have on him, I think it's going to delay Slark's effectiveness this game. They really have slowed down quite a bit after a good amount of early game momentum.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, a lot of their heroes hitting their stride kind of towards this mid-game. They've looked to find a pick with the hook shot, but Slark really not able to contribute too much with that Midas, and they haven't found a pick thereafter. They even lost the engagement there mid, and already we see BSJ surmount the Slark in terms of net worth, sitting at 5,300. And after that double kill, Dragon Fist looking pretty healthy as well, 1,300 gold in his pockets after what was a shaky start to say the least in the mid lane.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what Storm Spirit's item choice is going to be this game, whether he goes straight for the Bloodstone or whether he goes for the Orchid. Both paths have their merits, and I think either would be okay. Dragon Fist is going to zip up towards the top rune spot, but doesn't find anything there. The double damage rune was snagged by Greedy.
Yep, elsewhere, support's farming up in the jungle. Tranquil's picked up by Demon. Yeah, it does have that finger as mentioned before and used on that Queen of Pain towards the mid lane. Or on the Clockwork, I should say, towards the mid lane. Has picked up at level 7 now as well. In terms of the other supports, the Earthshaker pretty starved out. Z-Talk, not even level 6 with the Echo Slam, is trying to soak some experience toward this mid lane, but sharing it with the entire lineup of the Radiant side, and all the other supports in the game at least level 7. Dazzle, however, has picked up his level 8 at this point, so the Weave should be a pretty nice tool for taking a Roshan for a team that otherwise is pretty poor at it.
We'll just be chilling for the time being. Things have slowed down a bit. In fact, they've been pretty slow the entire game. 4-4 after that fight around the river area. Tier 2 tower in top lane, almost falling to the Phantom Lancer, and he has Demon behind him. With Finger of Death, they're going to pop it straight onto Greedy. He's blown to shreds. They even relocate in the Storm Spirit for a little bit of extra damage on this tier 2. That was such an easy kill for Summer's Rift, excuse me.
Yeah, easily brought him down, even looked away for the moment, and he was dead. Either way, Brax has found some space as well now that they do have the relocate online. They're going to zip forward mid lane onto the Queen of Pain and able to bring him in. The blink is going to be there for the Queen of Pain to get out. Fish are going to disrupt things up in the Sonic Wave. They do bring down the IO. Demon rotating around, looking to find this Queen of Pain. Isn't able to do so as he's scouted out by the Creep Wave. And BSJ up on the high ground, waiting to turn this on the Radiant side, but they're not going to bite the bait, and they will be just content with bringing down that IO in the mid lane and keeping their Queen of Pain alive.
Things have really started looking good for Summer's Rift since they have been able to farm at just a faster rate than their counterparts on the Unknown side. Especially significant is their offlaners and their couple of supports are getting some pretty significant items. We're halfway towards the Blink Dagger on Demon. Speaking of Demon, he's caught out by Greedy. The battery assault is enough to get this skill. Flare's going to drop him down to 100 HP. Do they have the follow-up? Queen of Pain's coming in from the right-hand side. A Blink Scream would be Demon's demise. Can he actually get out? The Scream is going to miss, the Cogs are going to miss, and Demon is free to TP home. One smack from the Clockwork is far from enough.
Wow, an unlucky play to say the least for Unknown. But yeah, we mentioned earlier with not having the points up in the battery assault, trying to last hit with that rocket flare just doesn't have enough to bring him down. Meanwhile, Brax looking to pick up his mechanism, farming up these stacks here, does have the recipe over in the stash. Rocket flare, glancing blow, hits him in the back if at all. And Brack's going to be just fine. Maybe they scout out that he does have this item progression now, but things looking very good for BSJ and crew. He's going to pick up a Yasha of his own and maybe look to mount a push on this tier 1, which is pretty unhealthy in the spot lane.
Let's see what's going to end up happening next. We've been sitting on Relocate for quite some time for Summer's Rift, but just based on their heroes, they don't generally use Relocate as aggressively as maybe a Tiny would. They're just going to keep on taking down these towers. Tier 1 tower in bottom lane is going to end up falling very quickly. Although it's glyphed and maybe Unknown can look for a fight after the fact, it's not without its risks. This could go get very scary for them. There's the mechanism up for the Bristleback. They get the tower denied. Can they get anything on the retreat? There's a Pounce primed and ready. It's going to be right between the Bristleback and the PL. They won't find either of them. And now Brax is relocated out to safety, and Banana Slam Gemma is going to be able to walk that one off. In the meantime, he gets some space for Storm Spirit, and Lion is Demon is going to be farming up towards his Blink.
Yeah, Demon always somehow able to find some space here and a lot of commitment towards that bot lane. They do get the deny, but they are going to find out Whitebeard here into the trees, and they'll bring him down as he relocates back. But either way, yeah, space has been created for Summer's Rift. It is a nice little set of trades there for Unknown, though. They deny their tower and pick off the Wisp.
Yeah, that is going to help them out quite a bit. But still, the Slark is falling behind the Phantom Lancer. He has his Shadow Blade now, which is going to help quite a bit. But I don't think it's going to be enough until he gets the upgraded Silver Edge to really allow him to fight very freely. His health pool is very limited, and without having that break, killing off the Bristleback is very, very difficult. Now an Ogre Club on top of his mech, and just innately very tanky. Brax is going to be a force to be reckoned with inside these fights.
In terms of item progression, Dark Konoha is not too far off that Orchid.
Top lane, Demon is going to get an Earth Spike. Very fortuitous timing. Turns around and hexes Finger of Death and kills the Slark. Outplayed there.
Wow, and it gives him just enough to pick up that Blink Dagger as well. Massive solo kill going Jimmy's way. They're going to try and force in this tier 1 mid lane, but Brack's going to come in with his mechanism and the Ogre Club. They are going to pop the offensive weave up onto Brax and look to back him off. They're going to drop the nuke from the Shadow Wave as well as the Shadow Strike there, but BSJ going to TP in and look to secure this deny. It's actually 2 HP away from deny range is that tier 1 in the mid lane, unfortunately for the Dire side, but they keep their Bristle back up while losing their Storm Spirit on the other side of the map.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate that they lose the Storm. He's currently falling behind when it comes to the Orchid Wars compared to the Queen of Pain, who already has their completed Orchid Malevolence, but the Blink Dagger on Demon is potentially going to be showed off. He's hunting for the Clockwork, blinks right into him with the relocate in from the IO as well as the Storm. They'll kill off Greedy very easily, even without the Finger of Death. They are going to start bringing the Storm Spirit back into the game with these constant pickoffs, and having the Blink online at this early point is so very scary.
Yeah, full Orchid available for the Queen of Pain as well. She revealed that in mid lane, and BSJ was just able to walk away from it. So Dire side well aware of this pickup now. Maybe they look to get a little bit more aggressive from their side, but Clockwork down for another 15 seconds. Maybe they wait for the hook shot. Top lane, though, with the Shadow Blade, MNZ looking to find some revenge onto Demon, and with the Dark Pack, should be able to do so pretty reliably. He does purge off the Hex with that. He'll get the Pounce off, but he guesses wrong with his Haste Rune. Demon is going to be able to blink out to the left and trying to TP away. Only one right click needed, but he's going to guess wrong. And the mech will be there from Demon, or from Brax for Demon. They aren't able to cancel this TP, though, with both of his disables on cooldown yet. What should have been an easy kill for the Slark going to be dodged by Jimmy.
Yeah, very unfortunate happenings for the Slark. It would have been a pretty big kill, too. That's a killing spree for the Lion, and he's actually farming relatively pretty good, although the second lowest on his team. Everybody on the side of Summer's Rift is getting some sort of item progression. Even the IO has Arcane Boots and Bottle, which is about as good as you can hope for. Mid lane, they're going to jump onto BSJ. He's going to end up dodging one of the skills, and with a little help from IO, can he make it out? He's going to be able to get off a W, doppelgangering away, but a Sonic Wave and one smack from the Slark is all that they'll need. Now chasing forward for Whitebeard. MMZ does have the ultimate, can die pretty aggressively. They'll zip in with the Storm Spirit, trying to focus him down. They'll be able to stun him up, but it's purged off instantly, as now he gets up to high ground, but he's stuck there. Spotted out with the Storm Spirit. They're going to drop him low, but not low enough. Dragon Fist is getting in a fist fight with MMZ. The Shallow Grave is buying him enough time, and now the relocate down to the low ground. A really awkward exchange. After all is said and done, it's just one kill on the Phantom Lancer, but then the Demon is going to find himself a kill onto the Clockwork with Finger of Death. Dominating spree for the Lion. 1 for 1, but still favors Unknown.
Yeah, definitely so. They pick off BSJ and force a lot of rotations in. A little bit of an awkward relocate there at the end, as you mentioned, and nice grave placement by Acel and timing. He'll get that up onto MNZ, and it's very big that the Slark survives there. If they were to bring him down there and stifle his item progression, I feel that they have really no answer to BSJ's PL at this point. So Brax does find as well a Sange of his own, so getting pretty fat after what was a bit of a rough start for him, and sitting on level 11 as well, with the 2 levels in Warpath. They can look to start balling up and taking the remaining outer tier towers away from the Radiant.
Dragon Fist has his Orchid completed, and an Invis Rune going to start hunting with that one. 8 to 9, the kill score is very close, but really it's in the CS department that Summer's Rift are finding a slight advantage, and also in just their ability to take down these objectives. They've knocked down tier 2 tower up towards top. The tier 1 tower in mid, although it still stands, is not looking too healthy. Now they're going to look for a Roshan with the extra Mind Summer coming out from Viscous Nasal Goo. The Vladimir is offering for the PL. They can take this very reliably, and Unknown are not very close at all, and that's going to be a second life for your Storm.
Yeah, one of the better Aegis carriers in the game as well, and just picking up that Orchid can play super aggressive with this extra mana pool available to him via that extra life. So look for Summoner's Rift, probably just to look to take a pick off and then go for towers here. MNZ could be the perfect target. Brax gonna have his smoke popped, and he will catch out MNZ here. He's just gonna look to man up. Does have that Shadow Blade available to him, and MNZ gonna run to the north to relocate from the Storm Spirit. He's gonna go towards top lane, and with Demon they'll be able to find Greedy. Easy kill going their way on the Clockwork, and now perhaps look for them to push with the mech available to them, and the one man down from Unknown.
It's pretty awkward to not have any detection when you're going for that Slug kill, but it still works out. After all is said and done for Summer's Rift, they still get themselves a kill, and tier 1 tower down towards bottom has already fallen. They're almost at an S and Y for this Bristleback, although the Slark is hunting. Can he actually get any of these kills, I wonder? The IO on the backlines is the easiest one for him to go for, but even the IO has a tether out and some help from the Bristleback. This is a very precarious situation. He's going to open up with the Dark Pact. The damage is there, and MNC is going to find that kill, but can he get out freely? He's going to be Orchided, does not get the Dark Pact off, and is ripped apart. That's not worth it at all for the Slark, although I think he has to go for that sort of play. He's just not fast enough on his fingers to get the Dark Pact off.
Yeah, having to use it on the IO there is super unfortunate for him, and not fast enough on the tether, not fast enough on the Dark Pact for either side, and the Wisp and Slark falling definitely better end of the trade going Summer's Rift way. They don't have the relocate available to them now, but already being on cooldown, not the biggest deal. So BSJ going to force in the mid lane a bit, and now we see the Radiant lineup pretty choked into their side of the map. Haven't seen any major item progression since the Orchid and the Shadow Blade for the Queen of Pain and Slark respectively. Now with the Slark on the sidelines, just going to continue to farm up the entirety of the map for their PL, already taking those Radiant Ancients away.
Yeah, and BSJ is very hard to kill, and he's also going to start doing a lot of damage once he gets his Diff Blade up, which is what I'm guessing the Blade of Alacrity inside his base is going to be. The Phantom Lancer went for a Manta style first, a fairly defensive opener, but he's not really suffering because of it. It's allowing him to farm very freely across the map. The only thing he really has to worry about is the Blink Orchid from the Queen of Pain, and Manta mitigates that almost entirely. However, there's a Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, so maybe Ztok can set up some kills with the Blink Echo.
Yeah, definitely a big pickup for Unknown. And he's quietly found some farm here on the ES. Is pretty rich compared to the other supports and even the Clockwork on his team. So that could be big for the high ground defense for Unknown. But it seems like Summer's Rift playing this pretty patiently, just taking all the opportunities for pickoffs that are given to them by BU. They're going to maybe start to establish some aggressive vision. Roshan, or the Aegis, still in their pockets for 2 minutes. Can take their time in pushing these last outer tier towers.
Yeah, well, with this next 2 minutes, I'd expect them to do just that. They'll look for tier 2 tower in bottom lane first, or at the very least to apply pressure there. Unknown don't seem to be interested in that side of the map at all. They're going to drop the Slark over at the Ancients as he stacks those up and farms those up. And Summer's Rift should be able to get this tier 2 without any scuffle. Unknown seemingly just giving this one away for free, feeling that they can't fight into this team. And honestly, I think they are probably wrong. I think they have the ability to initiate. If they get a good clockwork jump or a good blink echo, things could go well for them. Although it is risky, I think it's worth the risk. Instead of just giving away all of these tier 2s, they're going to find a Fissure on a Dragon Fist, but no follow up there, and he's going to get earned up and is at a reasonable amount of HP. The Slark is on the back line. It's going to bump into Demon. Demon already using the blink is going to get initiated on as Queen of Pain goes in the sidelines with her BKB. There's going to be Orchids galore on either side. BKB yet to be popped by the Queen of Pain. Eventually is going to drop it as they lose the Aegis on Dragon Fist. Demon has already fallen as they now get a pounce up onto Brax. Brax is going to be relocated out, but the Storm Spirit not so lucky. He's going to eat the full brunt of that Echo Slam. Now the Io is going to relocate back into the entire team. Unknown, although they do lose their tier 2 tower, it looks like they're going to find a good fight after the fact. Enchant Totem, nicely timed, and Whitebeard can't get out if you're alive.
Yeah, he is going to try to Shadow Amulet there, but they will have the detection available to them. And as you mentioned, certainly with those the pickups of the BKB and the Blink Dagger on that Earthshaker, they were able to fight and fight well. BSJ still surviving, does pick up the Diffusal, and is going to continue to farm. But bringing down the Storm Spirit, very nice there for Unknown side, and they do gain a lot back from that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Shadow Amulet is up for the IO. I honestly didn't see that he was invis. But having that extra Glimmer Cape is going to be really nice for the team. Down towards bottom, Slark is hunting with the Shadow Blade, but won't find anything. Diffusal Blade up for the PL means that Banana Slam Gemma is not only really hard to kill with the Manta style, but is also going to be dishing a lot of damage in return. Unknown, it feels like they rely almost exclusively on the Slark and Queen of Pain to pull through inside these fights. The Clockwork initiations, when they've been there, have been alright, but I don't really feel like Greedy has been very present on this map. 1, 5, and 4.
Yeah, he hasn't really been too influential thus far, it seems, and has been picked off by his lonesome by using the relocate there from Summer's Rift. So yeah, the hookshots really haven't been kind of any sort of initiation. It seems that he's only ever been able to catch out Whitebeard with those, and he's been able to tether away a couple of those times. So S&Y now up on Brax, and his BKB to come soon here after, unless he's looking to build into a Halberd, which is probably not the greatest up against the Slark. But meanwhile, the Orchid versus Orchid fight is going to be commencing. Soulburn is going to bring down the Storm Spirit, and it's a nice solo kill going the way of Dark Konoha. No initiation in from Brax, but meanwhile, Lion going to pick off the Dazzle rotating through the jungle alongside Whitebeard, and Demon's been able to find himself quite a few kills here with the fresh use of that Blink Dagger. Picks off the Dazzle.
Yeah, he'll turn that extra gold from the pickoffs in towards a 4-staff for himself, which is really nice and all for Demon, but the Storm Spirit has died maybe one too many times. That man fight up towards top was probably one of the most awkward things I've seen in a while. It's really interesting that they didn't relocate the IO in, or the Bristleback just kind of kept on farming instead of walking in with the mechanism. I'm not sure exactly who made what call. Queen of Pain probably isn't going to die either way, but I think they had ways to at least attempt to save the Storm.
Yeah, either way, I mean, they are farming elsewhere, and BSJ getting scarier and scarier. Vlad's Diffusal Manta treads up 1,400 gold in addition to that. Roshan not going to be spawning for at least a minute and 15, and Summer's Rift really do have quite a bit of map control. Looks like the offlane's been secured a little bit by the Radiant side with some nice vision up towards the rune and in the lane. So they are looking to farm that side of the map. Going to need to bring down this last tier 1 for the Dire side as well if they want to continue to farm the enemy jungle. MNZ going to look to establish himself here top lane. Did probably catch a glimpse of that Storm Spirit, but obviously not the most ideal target. He's got 2 ultimate orbs in his pockets as well on his way to his Scotty, and is only about 800 gold away from that.
Yeah, Scotty's a great item in Slark, but I still think it's worth upgrading your Shadow Blade after you pick that up for MMZ, and he really hasn't gotten that many kills under his belt. He's picked off the IO a handful of times, but usually at the cost of his own life too. He's letting the Midas tick, and that's fine, but taking this late against PL is not comfortable at all. BSJ has upgraded his Diffusal Blade to level 2, and from here on out it's just big ticket items. I think a Butterfly would be wonderful for him. At the moment it looks like Unknown are setting up shop to push down this tier 1 tower in the top lane.
Yep, Butterfly or Heart, either one. BSJ seems almost unkillable if he's able to pick up one of those items, and is farming very well. 15k net worth, 3k ahead of that Slark. Just continuing to farm away fairly safely. Doesn't feel threatened at all, while the rest of his crew farms up that Radiant side jungle. Brax can be able to push the lane in and force back some rotations perhaps from the lineup of Unknown, who are trying to push in the top lane here. Glyph is available. TPs are going to be expended. Jump forward. The Pact is going to bring down the Orchid, but the jump forward Echo Slam onto 2 from Z-Talk. Gets the Fisher out as well. BSJ getting low, is able to doppelganger away. And the Wisp relocate save on the Storm Spirit keeps him there, but they do bring down the tower. A lot expended though for Unknown, and now as they reset, maybe we see Summer's Rift look to go back in. The Impale hits onto MNZ as he's impaling out. The hook shot's going to come through with the Sonic Wave as well. The Storm Spirit is going to fall. Brax getting low as well. The Grave and the Shadow Dance keeping MNZ up. Brax is the next one to fall. Up against the BKB though. Banana Slime Jamma right-clicking away at the Queen of Pain. She's able to blink out to the east. And now Whitebeard going to be caught out as well. And it's a 4-for-1. BSJ still trying to fight up, but MNZ's going to catch him out with the Fisher and a couple more right clicks and the Dark Pick. 5-for-1. Going the way of the Radiant side. Unknown and MNZ picking up a double kill there. Very nice engagement towards the top lane, and they pick up the tower as well.
A disastrous fight for the Summer's Rift side. It all looked like it could have gone well for them, but they lose their Storm Spirit to the Sonic Wave of the Queen of Pain, and the Slark makes it out on very little HP with a little bit of help from the Shallow Grave coming out from the Dazzle, and that's exactly what Slark is designed to do. Drop low, escape out of the fight, then heal up, and then reinitiate, and Summer's Rift really weren't prepared for that. The Phantom Lancer felt like he got kited around almost constantly, and wasn't actually able to get his damage output through.
Yeah, it felt like they split their focus a little bit too much just because BSJ couldn't get deep enough into the engagement. And very nice play from MNZ holding onto that Shadow Dance as long as he did, really expecting the Grave to come out from Acel, and it did in a very timely manner, and he was able to get off that Shadow Dance, jump back in, bring down Brax, as you mentioned, Sonic Wave bringing down the Storm, and absolutely terrible engagement for Summer's Rift. They lose their tower as well, top lane, and that's going to be a lot fed over to this lineup of DU, and they, with the Weave popped, will look to take this tier 2 as well. Glyph is available to the Dire side, but with this PL on the sidelines for 45 seconds, they're going to be hard-pressed to pop it just for a tier 2.
Yeah, and they might even be forced to buy back on the PL if Unknown keep on going. But they're not going to feel comfortable doing that. They'll end up pulling back. But even so, Unknown had pared down what once was a 10,000 net worth advantage on Summer's Rift's side to only about 1,000 net worth in their favor. In fact, have an experienced lead. Things looked really hairy about 8 minutes or so ago. But since then, Summer's Rift had lost pretty much all momentum. It really feels like it's the Storm Spirit that's not really holding his weight. Dragon Fist is getting caught out one too many times and just can't find the initiations that they really need.
Yeah, and the Orchid jumping onto the Slark there really doesn't do much with the Dark Pact already being queued up. So that loses a lot of their potential in the fight. The Queen of Pain able to get her full toolkit off. As well, the hook shot coming through in the trees there to counter initiate. It looks like they did scout out MNZ, but he will be able to take out the ward there from the Dire side. And now with a gem over on the Radiant side on the Slark, and the Silver Edge to be coming soon. He can purchase it up right now. Maybe they look to choke out Summer's Rift just as they had been choked out for the last few minutes.
For sure, their heroes are very scary when you have map control. Clockwork, Queen of Pain, Slark, pretty much everybody on their side can be very scary when it comes to jumping on the enemy team. I suppose with the exception being the Dazzle, but even the Dazzle, if he's in a good position, can make it almost impossible for Summer's Rift to move around themselves. Instead of going for that Silver Edge, he's going to go for a Basher. Although Silver Edge is great against Bristleback, it seems that MMC has decided that his threats aren't really going to be disabled that much by having the upgraded Shadowblade. I still think it's a worthy investment, but delaying it for the Basher is fine. It's going to make it a lot easier for him to man-fight the PL.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to remove that Juxtapose or the Bristleback, but either way, looking still pretty scared. Can't cancel those TPs on his own as well if he looks to try and pick off the support, so it's a nice pickup regardless, always a good item on Stark. The Abyssal to come out later on will be certainly very influential in these team fights as well. Radiant Vision is going to scout out Brax farming these Ancients as well as BSJ rotating around to the east. But no immediate aggression coming out from the Radiant side.
Yep, and they'll probably just be stalled out until they can get this Roshan. They can take it very feasibly and fight very well inside those close quarters, but this is a place where Summer's Rift could mount a very incredible defense. Storm Spirit, one of the kings of the Roshan pit, and they have a fresh BKB on him if I'm not mistaken. That could really throw a wrench in the works for Unknown. They're just taking a little too long in getting this Roshan, although it's reliable with the extra armor from the Dazzle. They're going to plunk Brax right into the pit. He's going to bump into MMZ, maybe a little bit far away from his team. Can they focus down the Bristleback? Not when you has the Black King bar pop by himself. They're going to chase after the Slark, hexed up over the sidelines, but Blink and Echo catches out too with the Sonic Wave. They're going to drop BSJ low and eventually kill off Banana Slam Gem as he gets slammed by the Earthshaker. The loser Dazzle on the sidelines. The Storm Spirit is still going to town with his own Black King bar. It's a 2 for 2. Can they focus down MMZ? But now with the ultimate pop, they're going to focus on Abrax's front, and he's going to be brought down. They'll get a Fissure. The follow-up disable on the Dragon Fist is not immediately there. It's going to survive with 100 HP up towards the south, excuse me. But a Blink and Scream from the Queen of Pain will end his life. The Io is coming back to disengage. This is going to be a full 5-man wipe unless he can get a tether out, and it doesn't look like there's anything close enough. Silenced up, smacked down. It's a full 5-man wipe. A 2 for 5 exchange is unknown. Now finish up that Roshan.
Once again, it seems like a miscommunication from Summer's Rift, or split their focus a little. The BKB popped here outside the pit by the Bristle, and Brax walked in this way, whereas BSJ came in this way with another, and they got 2-man echoed up on the steps by Z-Talk, playing very well on this Earthshaker ever since he's picked up that Blink Dagger. And once again, disaster for Summer's Rift. And you mentioned it, the Storm Spirit just really didn't seem to do much in these engagements. You really expect him to be able to, especially with a BKB, zip around and create havoc, but he really hasn't been able to lock anyone down and take anyone out of the fight.
Yeah, these fights have just been so hectic for Summer's Rift, and their heroes desperately need to get precision initiations off. Storm Spirit, his goal was to kill off the Dazzle, and he succeeded in that. But after killing off the Dazzle, they didn't have enough left in the tank to really continue, and Storm is a fairly squishy hero. Just having the Orchid and BKB inside of his inventory was brought down fairly easily by the Unknown side. Time and time again, this AoE coming out from Unknown is really catching Summer's Rift off guard. They get caught out in these little clump spots, get caught out in like 2-3-man Echo, Sonic Wave combinations, and from there on out, the Slark just cleans house. The Slark is not really being answered inside these fights. They just don't have enough lockdown to tide him over and kill him through the Eye of Scotty HP.
Yeah, especially with the Grave and the Shadow Dance available to him, even the Shadow Blade. So the Slark's proven to be very elusive, and now with the Aegis, can look to continue to choke out Summer's Rift. With the Basher, definitely is able to kill off any of these supports that he's able to find out here. Not too much vision coming for the Radiant Way inside the Dire jungle, but already MNZ looking to find blood, and won't be able to do so under the duration of this Shadow Blade.
This is a really scary start for the series for Summer's Rift in its entirety. Unknown are rolling with a lot of momentum. Your Queen of Pain now with pretty much every item you could want on a Queen of Pain, just shy of the Scythe device. In fact, she has the Scythe device available to her on the courier as soon as she sends that out. She's absolutely stacked at the top of the net worth chart. And even though BSJ got a lot of farm in the early game, he hasn't transitioned that very well at all. 0-3 and 2 on the Phantom Lancer.
Yeah, he's just seemed to die in a lot of these engagements. Hasn't really, as you mentioned, had anyone to lock anyone down, especially MNZ, for him to start right-clicking away. He's kind of just been kited around these engagements, and that's not something generally you see a PL or having done to him, especially with the Diffusal Blade. So really unfortunate for BSJ here. Now with the Hex available as well, it gets even scarier for this PL. Demon is going to be smoked up, so not scouted out by that Rocket Flare, but still, Summer's Rift can't really find much here, and they're just trying to create some space. BSJ is farming on the other side of the map, but already we see the lane drawn in by Z-Talk, and it looks like we will see MNZ group up towards this bot lane. He's going to find out a Dragon Fist with his Shadow Blade, but is going to need the Orchid from the Queen of Pain. She's going to blink in a little bit too late, and the zip out does come from Dragon Fist. The Shadow Blade expiring there for MNZ, had to open up.
When everybody goes their separate ways, everybody's going to end up surviving. The Aegis is going to be reclaimed in 2 minutes, so Unknown might not be able to break high ground with this, and that's the eventual goal. High ground breaking against Summer's Rift is possible, but fairly difficult, even though they are at a disadvantage at the moment. They're still holding at a reasonable amount when it comes to net worth, especially on their triple core. Even though they're not able to kill off this Slark, it's very difficult when you're going into high ground. It's a completely different beast. They need to find a pick off with the hook shot or with the blink echo, and maybe that's going to be brewing on a Banana Slam Jamma. The Clockwork Flare is not going to scout anything out, but oh, they find Whitebeard, or do they? Nighttime Vision might save the Io. Is going to be able to get the Glimmer Cape off, and with that is going to be able to tether out towards the line. Everybody's home free.
Yeah, this is going to force them back away from their tier 2 though, so it's going to be a significant amount of chip damage being committed from MNZ here. And he will get down this tower to about half HP without even being contested. Phantom Rush comes forward with the Mana Illusion. Is going to try to burn some of his mana. He will be healed up by the Shadow Wave and then jump right back into this engagement. Dark Konoha looking to flank with the Orchid and the Hex available to him. If BSJ shows himself, he is going to get jumped in, hexed on. The Orchid is available as well. They're going to drop his armor low, and the Sonic Wave will be there with the relocate save for the time being. Hookshot is very far deep from Greedy onto Brax. He's going to get caught out completely and impaled up and fingered. They do bring down the tier 2, but they are going to have to turn tail and run from the Radiant side without their Clockwork available to fight.
And their Aegis is also only going to be there for about 20 seconds or so, maybe a little bit longer than that for the Slark. But yeah, that was a very deep dive, as you said, by the Clockwork. Greedy getting greedy. I'm not sure exactly what he expected to find. The IO wouldn't have been there, and yeah, anything else, I think he pretty much dies. It was just an awkward move. They still get what they came for, however, and the tier 2 towers are no longer standing, with the exception being the one in mid for the Summers Rift side. So Unknown, if they can get another Aegis, might be able to pressure the enemy's side. But that's going to be for quite some time, where they're going to have to wait. The Aegis has just fallen out of MNC's inventory.
Yeah, the Clockwork did pick up the Eul, so maybe he felt like he could jump in and reliably keep himself up for at least a couple seconds. But quick reactions on the trigger finger from Demon, and they're able to impale him up and bring him down.
Yeah, things have really slowed down. Unknown, their advantage is only at about 2,000 compared to Summer's Rift, but that's going to translate in towards a Butterfly 4 years Slark. And even though the items are still coming out for the Phantom Lancer and the Storm Spirit, these fights haven't gone very well for them in recent memory. The game is slowed down, and I think that's okay. Summer's Rift are going to enjoy getting that extra bit of space, as arguably their late game is a little bit better once they do get fully 6-slotted. But it's a long time until they can get that up and running. MMZ is going to go straight onto Demon with the Abyssal Blade, or not the Abyssal Blade, but rather the Butterfly. Will be able to drop Demon low, but not quite able to get that kill. Blink TP is going to save the Lion's life. MMC is hopeful with that Dark Pact, but that's just the Slark flexing his muscles. There's an IO relocate over on the sideline, spotted out by either team. Looks like this will be protected by Summer's Rift. Probably nobody's going to end up going down, although Io is there. He should be able to tether out to safety. He's going to Glimmer tether over towards Banana Slam Gem, but there's a hook shot, then catches two. Immediate hex up, the follow back of Slam doesn't catch out the PL, and now Greedy's going to be dropped low with the Finger of Death and the Earthshaker. They'll lose the ES almost instantly. The Lion is also fallen, as is the Io, as all these supports are being picked off in the sidelines. And Z is currently inside the enemy base, does have an ultimate at the ready, going to open up into Dragon Fist, gets the double kill, and now focuses down Brax, stealing a lot of essence away from the enemy team. Although the Storm Spirit gets a long zip in, and then Z is still surviving and gets a shallow grave up. Currently with 28 stacks of essence ship, will be able to pounce out, but now Hex is going to die to one poke from a Phantom Lancer illusion. Demon hunting for a little bit more. They buy back on their PL. If it weren't for that, it was a fairly even exchange from either side, but that's a lot of buybacks from Summer's Rift.
Yeah, 3 buybacks in total to mount that defense there top lane. Beautiful grave onto the Clockwork by the Dazzle, and then thereafter keeping the Slark up as well for as long as they did. Really drew out that engagement, and 3 buybacks is really going to hurt Summer's Rift here in terms of their item progression. BSJ is not going to find anything big for the next little while. Maybe one saving grace for Summer's Rift here is that they do get that gem off the Earthshaker and maybe can look to deward their jungle.
Yeah, it's going to be a big boon for Unknown, unless Summer's Rift can get something immediately, and I don't really see that happening. 40 seconds until Slark is back up and running. During that time, getting a tier 2 tower in mid seems almost impossible for Summer's Rift, and they really did need that item progression. The advantage is now going to be skyrocketing in Unknown's favor, and even though they've been fighting like they've had an amazing advantage, now it's going to be reflected in the graphs.
Yeah, definitely so. Taking a look at the metrics, Unknown already with an 8k lead in terms of net worth and 10k in terms of experience. The Midas has actually seemed to pan out here for the Slark for MNZ, and the game already going 40 plus minutes. He's got 1600 gold even after dying there top. Can look to pick up that Sange finally if he opts to do so. Maybe the Abyssal comes out, still a while away, but yeah, there's no immediate item progression coming out for the Dire side. They do pick up the BKB a little while back onto Brax, but only a plate mail in addition to that, and a lot of BKB charges used in that last fight in addition to the buybacks. Both Brax and the Dragon Fist BKB down to 8 seconds.
If you take a look at the Slark and the Queen of Pain sitting on a large lump sum of gold, can pretty much buy whatever she'd like, and I think a Refresh Orb would be wonderful for her as long as she's holding on to buyback. Unknown are going to smoke up, going to the Roshan pit, although Roche looks like he was tagged by a Clockwork Flare or something of that sort, is going to end up going back to the pit, and they're going to start focusing it down. Summer's Rift is a very scary place for him to fight, but at the moment Unknown's positioning is subpar. Maybe they can pull this off, although Roshan is falling quickly.
Yeah, with the medallion there, they're bringing this down very quickly, and the reaction needs to be swift from Summer's Rift, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The Rocket Flare is going to scout them out briefly. They do have a sentry down on the ground as the dire side, so they know they're not scouted with observer ward vision, but they're just a little bit too late to the party, and they have to back out after smoking.
The pressure is on Unknown to use this next Aegis to break high ground, but I think they can do it with the raw advantage that they've gotten. If they do stall out, things look better for Summer's Rift, as the Slark and Queen of Pain are nearing their peaks at the moment, getting very close to being 6-slide on both the Slark and the Queen of Pain, although Slark does have a Midas, as well as Power Twist to replace, and maybe even the Shadow Blade if he doesn't want to actually commit to the upgrade of the Silver Edge. But regardless, there's still a wide window where they can take this game, and I think the ball's in their court. It's their game to lose, even though earlier on it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, MNZ feeling very ballsy jumping through the enemy jungle right now alongside that Rock Flare, looking to find someone. The Queen of Pain going to join him in Dark Kanoa, and if they hex up Dragon Fist, it's going to be very slim pickings for the survival chances for Storm, but a zip all the way across the map from Dragon Fist, and it's some good game sense from him, else he was dead.
He is going to have himself a completed Bloodstone on the Storm Spirit, so that is going to help if he can pick up a couple of charges. But if he ends up losing his life and really just losing all momentum, he'd probably be better served just having the Soul Booster, and that's not something that's acceptable to have 44 minutes in the game. It's a nice pickup, but a pretty late one. In fact, his net worth is closer to that of the Earthshaker than it is to the enemy Slark. At the moment, the Earthshaker is sitting on the hand of Midas that the Slark once was holding so that he could make space spread Aegis, but now there's a full Scythe of Vice up for Zetok.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2 Scythes already for the side of Unknown, and as these BKB durations start to dwindle, they're going to get more and more effective in jumping it. They have a lot of initiation as well with the Clockwork, with the Earthshaker, the Queen of Pain, and even the Shadow Blade to the Slark. So these hexes can do a lot of work in these fights. We already see a couple of these buybacks down from the Dire side, so look for them to get really aggressive with this Aegis soon. In terms of the Dire buybacks, only have the one on Brax at the moment.
Queen of Pain has gone bootsless, does buy that refresher I was talking about earlier, so artificially inflating the amount of Scythe device to 3 on their side inside this fight. She's going to be relying exclusively on the Blink to maneuver through the engagements, but I think that's fine for her. Having the refresher for a double Scythe, double Orchid, double Sonic Wave, and double BKB is pretty incredible, although that does take a lot of APM, a lot of clicks inside the team fights. If you can pull it off, is pretty much unparalleled when it comes to other item pickups she could have gone for.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like Dark Kanoa has been the one they've been focusing recently in these couple of fights. So with 2 BKBs, I don't know that she really needs the Boots of Travel here. They're going to try and get some split push going our Summer's Rift, but they're not far deep enough in the lane now, and already their tier 3 has been aggressed upon and being chipped down heavily here. They're pretty much going to take it out without contest. MNZ going to be able to bring down these illusions fairly low with the Fisher as well, and they get the tier 3. Going to back out and reset and maybe look to go back up high ground.
They'll heal up on the Slark, and now Pounce going straight for the melee barracks. They still have the Aegis for quite some time. They're going to get some bashes over onto Brax, blinking for the Queen of Pain, pops the BKB, pops first Sonic Wave, does have Refresher at the ready. Is she going to pop it? She does use the Refresher, and another Sonic Wave, killing off Brax, and a buyback from the, Bristleback is in order. Blink in with the Echo Slam. They'll kill off the Storm, now chase under the tier 4 for Banana Slam Jamma, but maybe this is a little too deep, but MNZ has himself an Aegis. BKB pop by Brax is hardly going to do anything when you're getting bashed with so much essence stolen by the Slark. He's hitting like a little truck. He's going to go further into the well. They might be able to find BSJ, but he's back inside the base. The tier 3 tower and the melee and ranged barracks have since fallen while all of this is going on, and Summer's Rift are no closer to actually killing off anybody, let alone the Aegis on the Slark.
Yeah, MNZ going to rotate over to this top lane as well and look to take down this tier 3. He'll do it with relative ease and continue to chip away. This is 2 lanes of racks easily down for Summoner's Rift, and now things looking very scary for them. BSJ, the only one alive. Jump forward, Hex onto Brax. The Enchant Totem is there as well as a Fisher, and they are going to be able to hook him up. Sonic Wave him, and he's going to be hooked up with the well. Brax down for 90 seconds. Glyph is going to be popped, but no buyback available for any of these dead heroes. And Unknown looking to continue to secure this advantage. They'll take a tier 4 and look for the next one. And we're encroaching upon GG territory. Summer's Rift and their TI hopes on the line here in this best of 3. Looks like game 1 going to go Unknown's way.
If you told me 25 minutes ago that Unknown would pull through this game victory, I probably wouldn't have believed you in all honesty. Summer's Rift looked really solid in their early game. Got a lot of farm for all of their heroes. Everybody had what they needed to contribute. But inside those fights, they just kind of fell flat. They took
Yeah.
one too many really spread out, messy engagements, and that's going to cost them this game.
Yeah, a little bit of perhaps miscommunication, a little misfocus, and as you mentioned, the Storm Spirit just not being as influential as you would want him to be in those fights throughout the mid game, and MNZ and squad able to pull it back in this one and take a 47-minute victory. That is game 1 of this best of 3 series, guys, and start getting the Bible thumps out. Twitch chat, Summers Rift with their backs against the wall. Game 2 to come up soon. MRP GrandisV up on HeflaTV. Thanks for joining us.